All right, guys, welcome to Story Trading. Got an action-packed day going from video to video. So there's a lot going on in after hours right now. We do want to cover RUM. Where there's some other stocks we follow in our universe at Story Trading. So I'm a little distracted looking at some earnings coming out right now. So the RUM conference call is going to be at 5 p.m. We're going to cover that live right here. Let's just double check, make sure that's correct. I had the. All right, let's get this out here. Let's make sure we don't miss that call. That was right here. Rumble. Let's just double check this. All right, let's just register for this. I think it says, yeah. Okay, 5 p.m. All right, so we got a little bit of time. Great. So that starts at 5 p.m. So first blush, I'll tell you, these results are better than I expected. There was one analyst out there at about 5 million in revenue. They came in at 11 million revenue, only losing a penny in EPS. That's pretty good. I was bracing for the possibility we'd drop several dollars. We may be avoiding that fate. Okay, so we'll come back to that in just 1 second. We got to take a quick look at Drio earnings. I'm looking at my other screen over here. So Drio earnings came in at 6.6 million, a little bit above the average. Let's see. They're going to have a conference call tomorrow morning. We're going to live stream that tomorrow morning. And a lot of you here for Rumble. We'll get back to that in just a second. Let me just check what the EPS was here for Drio. I can get this. Revenue, gross profit, operating expense, operating loss, net loss. Okay, so net loss was 15.6 million. I got to convert that to EPS later. All right, so I got to look at Drio later. Don't have time to figure that out now. I can tell you the revenue was in line, so we'll take a look at that in a bit. Not much after hours action, but all right, going back to Rumble, let's see what we can glean from the press release over here. I'm going to switch back to the Yahoo version. That was much easier to read. Okay, so we got our Rumble press release over here. And what we're able to do is fill in some numbers in our spreadsheet. So we had MAUs come in. Let's do that here. MAUs at 71 million. So that's the average of July, August, and September. So this is, so yeah, 52 is also an estimate here. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to figure out what the number was for September exactly. But let's just assume for a second that the estimate for July was correct. So we'll go 71 times 3 minus 78 minus 52. And we get to potentially 83 million, which is an estimate. I don't know if, someone's going to ask him about that on the conference call or not. Chris Pavlovsky. So potentially we're looking at 83 million as an estimate. You can see the billions of minutes watched quarter over quarter went from 8.1 billion to 9 billion. I don't have that charted. It's interesting. We did have some prints of 10.5 billion and 10 billion over here in December and March, which is curious to me. I don't know if they've changed how they're tracking this or what, because I mean, their app and their site definitely has a ton more content and ton more viewers in the last few months than it did back in these two particular months. I have a feeling somehow the way they're measuring that may have changed, giving us some maybe erroneous figures in the past. So that's something to be aware of. And it's going to be interesting to see how this conference call looks. Now, let me see if I can pull up a chart. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to, since we have some time here before the conference call starts, we're going to pull up our watch list that we use every morning for story trading. And we can go over some charts a little bit easier over there. Is it showing? Oh, it's showing already. Okay, there we go. Hooray. All right. So this is our watch list. We got 300 stocks we monitor every morning. You can see RUM right at the top of the list. DWAC, there's a lot going on. So, man, this morning was crazy, by the way. We called out these stocks in the morning in pre-market. TBLT at $2.40. We called out DSKE at like $6.25. We called out. These are all stocks. These 300 stocks are stocks contributed to people in our community, in the story trading community. So we know they're solid stocks. And then when they come out with a catalyst, we'll go through all of those catalysts in the morning, look at the news feed, and highlight the ones that we think are important that could be market moving. So that's how we were alerted to TBLT, DSKE this morning, LLAP, also FREY had earnings this morning. All of these stocks did really, really well. Meta, we've been following just because of the news they had the other week of job cuts and the stock being oversold. We had a great call on that here at Story Trading from $95 to $112. We'll have a video out on how that developed soon, showing you how we use a story trading process, considering sentiment, catalysts, technicals, not just fundamentals, to make our call on Meta from $95 to $112. Another big winner today, Clearfield up 9%. They have earnings later this week. This has been a big winner in the past for story trading. A lot of us in our community are holding this into earnings on Thursday, thanks to a member from our community, Chris Tarbert. So going back to RUM over here, and see RUM has had a lot of volatility. Honestly, look, we had called this drop to this area. We were thinking it could even go into the fives. So it didn't get as low as I thought. Now, why do we do that? First of all, disregard the first two candles here. These were not market efficient days. People could not sell on those days as the stock was transferring from CFVI to RUM. Okay. Now, the reason we knew that this could drop is because we did some collaboration with SPACvest, a company called SPACvest. It's Chris Tuttle at SPACvest over there. And he did an analysis for us looking at the revenue and earnings potential based on their user base. And he concluded that the stock is fundamentally only worth $5. Now, we know that's not how the stock market works. It doesn't trade only on fundamentals, thus story trading, why we look at the four pillars of sentiment, catalysts, fundamentals, and technicals. So we kind of combine everything and look at it holistically and say, okay, well, at some point there's going to be a bear raid trying to push the stock down towards $5, but it's never going to get there because the sentiment premium in this stock is very, very big. And even if it does get there, it'll bounce back pretty quickly. That's what happened. Now, come earnings, I saw the potential again for another dive down where the shorts, the bears would say, hey, we're proven right. Look at the fundamentals here. They're only bringing in, X millions of dollars. Now it ended up being 11 million versus 5 million. And, they're burning cash. Well, they only lost a penny a share. But in any case, they'd look at those fundamentals and say, what is this? 3 billion market valuation for a run rate of 44 million. That looks expensive to me. And it is expensive, right? The question is how in in the meantime, as far as market pricing, how powerful is that sentiment to keep the stock elevated? Now, I was expecting worse numbers, 6, 7, 8 million, maybe even the 5 million that the analysts put out there. So coming in at 11 million, I was going into this thinking that we could drop into back and have a move like we had recently. And we could drop into that $5 to $8 range, maybe $5 to $10 range would be a possibility. But this, I think, seemed like a pretty strong report. A lot will depend on the conference call. I want to hear what Chris Pavlovski says on the conference call. Hopefully, he'll get some challenging questions. I really want to hear, the market's really want to hear about their cash burn and their path to profitability. And if he has good answers for that, then perhaps the stock's not going to crash and we're going to take off from here. So we'll have to see. But I think in the meantime, RUM continues to be a stock that's going to be very volatile. And one of the ways that we're advising or suggesting for people to play in our community, and we're not a certified financial advisor, either myself or StoryTrading, but one of the things you could do is sell premium, sell puts, sell calls. If you have some stock, maybe you can sell some calls to generate income. If you don't have the stock, you want to get it really cheap, maybe you can sell some puts. Going into this earnings report, I am short, together with my colleague, some $10 puts that we sold for over $2, which gives us an average purchase price of $7.90. So you can see how that protected us a lot, right? Instead of buying the stock outright, collecting $2 worth of profit, and only if the stock goes below $10 would we have to purchase it at that effective price of $7.90. So that's how we chose to play RUM over here going into earnings. Let me just see if anyone has any questions. Let me see what we got on the stream. Oh, we do have some comments. Got about 100 people on Rumble, hoping for some great numbers. Chris is going to pump hard. A lot of growth on little money spent. Yeah, and that could be the theme that they're going to try to be telling us. So we'll have to pay attention to what that is. If you're on YouTube, you can throw in some comments there, and we can take a look at some things as well. So I'm going to be switching to the desktop soon, just so we can get this live stream up. So we still have another about 17, 18 minutes to go before we get the live stream up. So it's important to get as many people as possible listen to this live stream. The qualitative context that's provided by CEO in a conference call does give investors a big edge. So I encourage everyone to share this stream on social media, on Twitter, on StockTwits, with your friends, colleagues, family. Let's get this going so they can just come to our link and we'll have the live stream right up. They don't have to find that link over on the investor website and register for the event. We're going to be live streaming it right here. Now, let's while we're waiting, we're going to look at our newsfeed. This is something we do for our VIP members every day, both at 9 a.m. Pre-market and at 4 p.m. We'll go through our newsfeed and see if there's any news out here on stocks we're watching that could move markets, if there's any other stocks of note that are interesting. I see here Hire has earnings, 23-cent loss. I don't own Hire. I know people in our community who like Hire. Personally, I don't love the company. It is a car delivery company, mostly based out of New York City for now. I believe they're losing money, little micro cap company. Not interested in that personally, but just letting you know, if you are in our community, you're following Hire, the earnings are out. You should go take a look at that and determine how you think that earnings report is going to impact the stock. And if you have any questions, you'd like to discuss it in our VIP trading room, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Just saw Drio, there's DPW announces third quarter results. So that's an interesting one. Really, really tiny nano cap company in the oil drilling services, offshore oil drilling services. So they have been profitable. They've had good earnings recently. Book value 8.4 million. It's saying market cap 8.3 million, cash 3.5 million. So they're trying to pump up their own stock, saying how we're really undervalued over here. Interesting to see what their earnings are. Um, Working capital of 4.5 million, cash. Did I miss the earnings here? There we go. Negative 1.1 million modified EBITDA. So negative 1.1 million modified EBITDA. Nothing to cause the stock to explode there unless there's like some good commentary in the conference call, some good information about backlog, things like that. So nothing groundbreaking there, like we saw this morning, right? Like we saw this morning in DSKE and TBLT, especially with flipping to profitability, 5-cent profitability. To annualize that 20 cents, throw a 20 PE on that. That takes you near $4, and you can see why the stock from that $2 range close to $4 range. We caught that this morning when the stock was $2.40 in pre-market. Tough built TBLT. All right, let me see if there's any other on the other one, Drio. We got 10 more minutes before we get on the Chris Pavlovsky Rumble call. See if we got any comments or questions. Not yet. All right, so while we wait for that, I'm also going to throw in a little video about what story trading is all about. So go ahead and take a look at this video, and we'll be back in just about 30 seconds.
It's not easy to understand why stocks go up and down, but even in volatile markets, there's always a discoverable and logical reason behind price action. Story trading is a social investing community of investors who share information to uncover the hidden stories behind the trade through the 4 pillars of fundamentals, catalyst, sentiment, and technicals. All price action can be understood through the lens of these pillars, allowing for a holistic view that empowers better decision-making. Only by understanding markets can you beat them. Join our community today and start making sense of markets.
All right, while you were gone, we found out here that Drio, I missed this before, 85 signed contracts. That's a big jump, and towards their target goal of 100 signed contracts by year end, and 61 million of contract value. They only need about 75 to 80 million to achieve profitability. So that's an important piece of news people are looking for. So that's really good. I have to again dig into the earnings to see what that was EPS wise. Maybe we'll do that together right here. I had a EPS loss of 15.6 million. Let's see how many shares they got outstanding. About so 15.6 divided by 23.29. Let's see if that works. Divided by 15.6 divided by 23.29. About 65 cent a share loss, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Beats the estimates. It looks like they beat on both the top and the bottom line. If they used, yeah, it looks like they beat on both the top and the bottom line there on Drio. And right, we got the contracts are good. The revenue, the contract value is good. See what commentary we got. All right, we got the conference call 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, which we're going to carry for our VIP members only. Oh, by the way, if you're not a VIP, just want to let you know, we do have a 7-day free trial. You can hop on over to StoryTrading.com and join us for 7 days. You'll be part of a WhatsApp community. Plus, you'll get exclusive access to a new platform we're building, beta access to our own app with a watch list and real-time quotes and events and all of the events we do. There's a section for events. You can just hit watch and you can see the archives for all our events. So you'll get access to that as well for the 7-day free trial. All right, we will get to RUM in just about 10 minutes. Just looking at some other news before we get there. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it in chat. I'll get to you in just a second. All right, we're excited about the National Health Plan agreement that we signed last quarter, which will embed our behavioral health technology in their digital platform, which has already generated revenue in the third quarter. And we expect revenue from this health plan will grow throughout 2023, subject to the health plan successfully implementing its rollout plan of the platform to their customers. That was among the most significant contracts we signed in 2022, which we expect will give us access to up to 10 million members. We're in discussions with several additional health plans, both directly and through our partners, and anticipate additional health plan customers in the quarters ahead. Okay. We continue to experience accelerating contracting momentum from our direct sales efforts and through our partnerships with Solera, Virgin Pulse, Vitality, and Alliant, all contributing now to our overall customer accounts and yielding significant additional opportunities with health plans and employers. In addition, we continue to see significant opportunity in our co-promotion relationship with Sanofi, with multiple potential health plan customers moving to later stages of the pipeline, despite the relatively short time of collaboration. Additionally, more than 50% of our current pipeline is from multiple conditions, okay, which allows us to do so-and-so's integrated suite. I anticipate a strong finish to the year. All right, great. So that's Trio, and we're going to come back over to RUM. RUM performing well here in after hours, 1211 by 1235. Pretty good movement here. Let's see if Ben's probably came out. No, they didn't, saying they have a beat or something, but this is pretty impressive. I think this report is good. Dash down into the 5 to 8 range. In fact, while we wait over here, well, we'll see. 1225, 1211. I did sell some shares today going into this event, thinking I could buy back cheaper, right? I may have to buy it back more expensive. Now, I was busy preparing for this show, so if I wasn't, I may have just bought back there in the 1170s, but that's okay. Sometimes if you have a little patience, it works out better anyway. So take a chance to listen to the conference call with everyone here and then make a decision after that. I continue to own RUM in my IRA, long-term holdings. What I'm talking about here are my trading shares, which I'm much more aggressive on trading around the core with. I don't know a lot of you if you're in DWAC or not, but we're looking at DWAC. We got that news of Trump probably announcing is going to be running tomorrow night. That's been the catalyst for DWAC. What a beautiful chart. This is unbelievable. I mean, if DWAC was actually in a position to close this acquisition with Truth Social, I'd be much more bullish about this stock. I hesitate because there's a great chance the deal is not even going to close. So that's a problem for DWAC. But look at this RSI really low. Look at this pattern coming up here to re-challenge the high of last week. Plus, we have continued. Look at this 20 to 50 cross on the DMA. Plus, again, we still have positive sentiment with this catalyst coming tomorrow night. So another day of price appreciation possible on DWAC. Really impressive price action and set of facts to cause the stock to go up here the last few days. But the problem is you may be just trading an empty vehicle that doesn't even own anything at the end of the day. That's the problem with DWAC, which makes me hesitate being aggressive with it. But hey, it's working for now. All right. See RUM here at 1218 by 1235. So I'm going to be switching my screen now to my desktop so we can prepare for the live stream. So just give me a moment on that. All right. Nope, that didn't do it. Let's going to, this is a screen. Here we go. All right, that was a screen, and I shared with you guys who were here earlier the data we're filling in with billions of minutes watched and the users. Things seem to be improving there, obviously, and that takes us through September, right? We still have October data. I don't know if they've said anything about October data in here. Let's see. All right, let's take a look. And in the last few minutes before Chris gets started, let's take a look and read the commentary. Our third quarter was a milestone for our company for numerous reasons, commented Chris Pavlowski. First, the quarter concluded with the completion of our business combination with the CFEI. As a result, Rumble became a publicly traded company, which we know under RUM, and they retained 99.9% of the cash, which we know. I am most proud of our ability to build and scale with a very lean operation. This is key here, 1221 by 1235, which is a testament to the team that we built and to the culture that has been embedded in our DNA since our founding in 2013. As evidence of this, we raised our first outside capital totaling $50 million in 2021 and ended the second quarter with $33.5 million cash on our balance sheet. What are they talking about last year? 2021, 2022. Okay. Throughout the last quarter, we know they have about 300 million or so cash now after the SPAC finish. So turning to our third quarter business highlights, we made significant strides in our building out our tools for monetization by launching our ad platform ahead of schedule. This launch allowed advertisers the ability access to a portion of Rumble's website user traffic enabling them to create banner and pre-roll video campaigns and to view their analytics. Demonstrated by our recent efforts, 2022 has been a foundational year for Rumble. As we head into 2023, we continue to focus on building our infrastructure for Rumble Cloud and building market-leading consumer products with Rumble Locals and Rumble Ads. We will also begin to focus on monetization and growing top-line revenues. While we're extremely encouraged by our third quarter financial results and key performance indicators, they are just the beginning as we have a long, incredible journey ahead of us. Rumble continues to attract users, creators, and advertisers to its platform while continuing the development of its own independent infrastructure. I look forward to executing on our mission while driving value to our shareholders. Let me see if I can dig into the loss. Loss from operations was 7.8 million, and most of that is from the marketing expense. Sales and marketing expense 6.5 million, which exploded. This increase includes a 4.9 million increase in costs related to incentivizing top content creators to promote and join our platform. So interesting, they have $350 million left over here. So they burned $7.8 million from operations. Let's round it up to 10, multiply it by that gives them what? 9 years of runway at their current burn rate. So that's pretty good, right? And you know what I really want to hear? I want to hear about their plan for technology. That's been one of the biggest criticisms I've heard from serious investors is that their technology stack really ain't good. Um, I share the concern from a rhetorical perspective in terms of Chris, talking a lot about marketing and bringing on top content, but I haven't heard him talk about technology much. I'd like to hear what his plan is to improve the technology. Do you think Rumble will ever do anything with Elon? I think it is definitely possible. They shared that conversation once and they did something about Starlink, right? I don't know exactly what it was, technically speaking, but there was something with Rumble servers and satellites from Elon. There's something going on there. So we'll just have to wait and see. But at this point, what we need to do is jump on to the live stream so we don't miss it. So let's go ahead and, oops, it's a good thing we're doing this a little bit early. Let's click on this again, get a valid session, and try to log in here. There we go. All right, I'm going to stop the stream and restart it just to make sure I'm sharing audio. Okay, the audio should be coming through now. It's kind of quiet though. So if you guys can indicate in comments if this audio is coming through clearly, that would be of great help. All right, so I think we're good to go here. Um, so the live stream's up and running, so you can go ahead and share this stream. Turn this banner off. I'm going to shut myself up soon. I'll interject a little bit here and there if it's possible to do it without interrupting your listening of the stream. So just go ahead and share this. It's rumble.com/storytrading, or use those share buttons to get this out so we can get people to hear what Chris has to say. All right, I'm going to go hide now for a bit. All right. Looks like we're about to get started. Music ended. I don't hear anything else. There we go. Oh, music is still on. Okay. All right. Let me just do one more tweak, guys. Get going. Okay, Chris. Don't hear him yet. Here we go.
market. To date, we have demonstrated our initial competency in this space by offering cloud services to the Truth Social platform. In Q3, we continued to make strides on our infrastructure and prepared to move Rumble and Locals fully onto Rumble Cloud. As we head into 2023, our focus will be to continue building out scale and enter our beta program where we refine the product and get ready for full commercial release. In terms of operations, when considering the infrastructure and businesses we have built, many people also fail to appreciate that we built this company on very little investment. Everything we've accomplished to this point of merger with CFBI has been on the heels of raising our first outside capital, $50 million in 2021, of which we still had $33.5 million on our balance sheet as of June 30th, 2022, the end of our last fiscal quarter prior to closing the merger with CFBI. As demonstrated by the current capital investments to date, we have been able to accomplish so much on limited capital resources due to our innovative business model, our bootstrap investment mentality since inception, and our ability to attract highly talented people with a mission-driven mindset. This is a framework we intend to hold onto as we continue to grow. Turning to our quarter's top line, we reported revenues of $11 million for the quarter, another company record, and this was largely driven by our ability to tap into advertiser potential sooner than anticipated and turn our focus towards monetization. That's more than a 430% increase when you compare this figure to $2.1 million for the same quarter a year ago, and 150% increase on a sequential basis. I will let Brandon touch more on our financial results shortly. To conclude, I believe our third quarter numbers speak for themselves. There has been so much doubt surrounding the audience of Rumble, and I hope today that one thing is evident. Our audience is the opportunity here, the opportunity that others have turned their back on. We are beginning to monetize, and our third quarter revenues are early validation of the value of our audience, exceeding our growth expectations internally. Importantly, this growth was achieved with little capital deployment. This is just the beginning. At Rumble, we believe that our mission is opening doors to a new ecosystem with enormous potential. I'm excited to go through this next chapter together and build an amazing business. I don't want Rumble to lean in any direction. I want Rumble to be neutral as we expand on this opportunity. One thing is for certain, our mission creates an enormous opportunity for us. It does not limit us. I look forward to this journey with everyone here today, and I hope one thing is evident. We have made substantial progress executing our mission, and this is reflected directly in our third quarter results. We are well on our way to delivering on our commitments. I look forward to onboarding great talent to our platform, focusing on our monetization efforts, and ultimately delivering value to our shareholders. With that, I'll turn the call over to our CFO, Brandon Alexandrov.
Thanks, Chris. I'll take you through our financials at a high level before turning the call over to the operator for Q&A. As Chris mentioned, from a top-line perspective, we reported quarterly revenues of $11.0 million for Q3 2022. This compares to $2.1 million a year ago. While we expect revenues to continue to grow, revenue levels for the foreseeable future will remain somewhat unpredictable as we continue to build out our infrastructure and experiment with various monetization levers to support our top-line growth. I want to caveat our top-line growth by saying that there's still plenty of work ahead of us. As we boost our advertising platform capabilities, we expect our revenues to continue to be a bit unpredictable. This is largely the reason why we as a company do not provide top-line revenue guidance and do not intend to provide financial projections of any sort in the near future. While we have expectations internally, we are mindful that as we grow the business and develop different monetization streams, we expect significant variability. Cost of revenues for the quarter were $7.4 million compared to $1.8 million a year ago. As we grow, we expect our cost of revenues to increase. The year-over-year increase was primarily due to an increase in creator and publisher payments of $4.2 million as a result of higher advertising revenues, and an increase in hosting expenses of $1.4 million due to higher consumption and costs associated with the growth in cloud and professional services. Moving through our expenses, G&A for the quarter compared to $646,000 in the third quarter a year ago, due to approximately $1 million in staffing related costs and $1 million in additional administrative expenses, consistent with increased costs associated with becoming a public company. We reported R&D expenses of $1.7 million for the 3-month period, a year-over-year increase of $1.4 million, again, due to an increase in staffing and administrative expenses. Looking at our sales and marketing expense, our third quarter reflected our initiatives and investment in content acquisition, resulting in the increase of $5.8 million due to a $4.9 million increase in costs related to incentivizing top content creators to promote and join our platform, and roughly $1 million split between additional staffing costs and marketing and PR initiatives. As a result of the items I just reviewed, loss from operations for the third quarter of 2022 was $7.8 million compared to $1.6 million in the prior year. I will now speak to our cash position. Gross proceeds from the recently completed SPAC transaction were approximately $400 million, including approximately $300 million from cash held in trust, $83 million from the PIPE financing, and $15 million from the forward purchase investment. As Chris mentioned, the de-SPAC provided the company with nearly all of the cash in trust due to total redemptions of 0.1%. Year-to-date costs associated with the transaction were $53.9 million. As a result of the transaction, combined with cash on hand prior to the transaction, as of September 30th, 2022, we had $356.7 million of cash on our balance sheet. Also, to reiterate what Chris said earlier, a relatively small cash burn between raising our first rounds of external capital in 2021, $50 million, and the end of Q2 2022, $33.5 million, reflects our lean operating mentality. We will rigorously adhere to this mentality as we apply more resources to our growth opportunities. Lastly, before I turn the call over to the operator, to aid everyone's analysis, I'd like to give a high-level overview of our share count as of September 30th, 2022, which is featured in the press release. There are 375 million shares outstanding on an as-converted basis, including approximately 279 million of common stock and approximately 96 million options with varying strike prices, warrants, and restricted stock units. Of the 375 million shares outstanding on an as-converted basis, 107 million have been placed in escrow and will be released upon the satisfactory of the earnout conditions. These share figures exclude approximately 106 million multiple voting shares held by our founder that do not have economic benefit. I'll now turn the call over to the operator to open up the line for questions.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will be conducting a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate your line is in the question queue. You may press star 2 if you would like to remove your question from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while we poll for questions. Our first question comes from the line of Thomas Forte from D.A. Davidson. Please go ahead.
Great. So first, congrats, Chris and team, on the de-SPACing. I'm very excited that RUM is now public. I have a couple questions. You talked about a lot of these during your prepared remarks. So first off, you've done an amazing job building a scaled audience in a very short period of time. So now we're looking at your efforts on monetization. You talked a lot about those efforts in your prepared remarks. So I guess the first question is, when you put together your advertising, e-commerce, your subscriptions, your tipping, how are you thinking about essentially building things from scratch, creating new initiatives, or leveraging kind of industry best practices? And is there any reason that when the efforts fully mature, your margin on those initiatives will be any different than those of your peers?
This is Chris speaking. So when it comes to the monetization, I think that, our growth in the last quarter kind of speaks for itself and really kind of set things into motion for our team to really focus on monetization. We thought we were going to focus a lot more on growth, but that kind of came to us in the last quarter, all kind of just by word of mouth. And where we kind of ended up here with RAC is, we're all kind of familiar with programmatic advertising, but we're not so familiar with the sponsored advertising. And from what we're seeing in Q3, that is an enormous market for us, and it's something that we want to focus very heavily in. We think that there's a lot of ability to scale this and build the sponsored posts with our creator community and give them a marketplace where they can access and be able to do that. And when it comes to comparing that to the competition, I don't believe the competition has anything like it. So I think we're going to be trailblazing a new path to revenue for creators when it comes to sponsored posts. The programmatic part is great. It's gravy. It's great for the creator economy, and it's doing very well as we've launched RAC. But the sponsored post is something that I'm very excited about for 2023. And then obviously when the bottom of the funnel that I speak about is the locals portion, subscription and tipping. That's out there, but I don't think there's a company that does it as well as locals. So the combination of locals at the bottom of the funnel, the sponsored posts, which is very unique to this market, and the programmatic should give us a real competitive edge against the competition when it comes to the creator economy. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. All right, and then high level on the cloud computing front. Should we think of this as something that's going to mature faster, slower than the ads, e-commerce, the subscriptions, the tipping? How, on a relative basis, might we think about the development of the cloud computing?
So yeah, we've made a lot of progress. We've tested a lot of stuff. Obviously, getting up Truth Social was an enormous feat. It demonstrates the capacity, the competence of the team to be able to really throw up the private cloud and get that running. We've made enormous progress on migrating a lot of Rumble onto there, and now even locals. So we're moving on all fronts of that. Obviously, the growth that we saw was in the last quarter was significantly more than we anticipated internally. So it really stretches our systems. But we're on pace, and we love the growth because it just pushes us further. And we're on pace to what we believe for a late 2023 beta launch of the public cloud for customers. So everything is on track on that front. And if anything, I believe that we're really pushing our systems and really kind of testing our systems in the last quarter, and obviously with the onboarding of Truth in a way that we didn't quite foresee, which is an amazing thing to really set us up for 2023 and building out something real robust, real scalable, and really resilient.
Great. So as a follow-up to that one, Chris, you talked about in the past about the advantages of building a cloud computing business on essentially a video platform. Can you, for those who may not be familiar with what you said about that, can you repeat your comments? Because I do think it puts you at a real advantage long-term as you build your cloud computing business.
Yeah, it is of my belief that when a video company is at an extreme advantage in the cloud business, when you look at Google Cloud, they have YouTube. When you look at Amazon, they bought Twitch. And when you really kind of try to understand why these are helpful to the cloud businesses, a video company pushes extreme amount of bandwidth, an enormous amount of encoding, and it has an enormous amount of storage. This creates, obviously a real good vehicle to enter the market. So Rumble, being a video company, is like the perfect vehicle to enter the cloud market, because we're going to have enormous capacity in storage, bandwidth, encoding, processing power, etc. And the more that you peer with ISPs, it drives down pricing, and you're able to compete in a way that a typical company would not be able to compete. So I believe having Rumble as the consumer vehicle is the real competitive advantage for us to enter this market, along with the fact that the market is really desiring something like Rumble, not just on the video side, but the cloud side. It is super apparent. We can all see it. That same sentiment that you're seeing at the Rumble consumer side, you're seeing with potentially governments, state governments that are really looking for the opportunity to use a cloud that follows the same type of policies that Rumble does.
Excellent. And last question from me, and thanks again for taking on my questions, and congrats on de-SPACing. So I've been getting this question a lot, and I think it's an interesting one. So what are the implications for Rumble of Elon Musk acquiring Twitter?
I think it's great. It's great for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that, Elon is pushing the same message that Rumble is pushing. We're all trying to take the internet to a more free and open area. And anybody that does that in this ecosystem and waves that banner is a great thing for Rumble. We're not all alone on an island anymore. We have someone like Elon Musk doing a very similar thing where he is advocating for free speech, and that is a great thing for Rumble. It takes Rumble kind of being in an isolated position to a very open position with, another large company in the ecosystem pushing the same thing. And more importantly, why this is great is that our creators now can actually benefit from sharing their content on a platform like Twitter without being censored. If that does happen and he pulls those restrictions, that should benefit Rumble in a major way by sharing their content there, getting more people to find their channels, having more access to another audience on a different platform to advertise and promote the content that they have. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's helped a tremendous amount.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Jason Helfstein from Oppenheimer. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, how are you? I wanted to expand a bit. Appreciate the breakdown of revenue between advertising and sponsorship. I know you're not giving forward-looking guidance, but as we look forward, do we think kind of like that ratio, kind of thinking about the 7.6 million versus the 1.3 million, that's kind of like the ratio you would expect as it's kind of scaled. And then when do you think we can start to begin to see almost like an advertiser testimonial on RAC where you can kind of understand the ROI that you're delivering for advertisers? That's the first question, then I have a follow-up. Thanks.
Hey, Jason, it's Brandon. I'll handle your first part of that and pass it off to Chris. I think it's a little early for us to give any guidance on that. We want to try and build some credibility here so we can, confidently speak more to that. So when we have a higher degree of confidence on how we're going to perform, I think we'll be able to get a better idea of the split. But clearly, we had a very successful quarter from an ad revenue perspective, and we look forward to continuing to focus on that as well as on some of the other items that are in the licensing and other section.
Hey, Jason, this is Chris. It's Chris speaking. I'll answer the second question with response to the advertisers. So one of the unique things about RAC, and I think at this point, people don't really realize it yet, but the entire advertiser base on RAC, for the most part, is direct response. So all the advertisers that are going in there, they're looking to do an ROI, and our growth is based on direct response type of advertisements. And we believe that there's a lot of room to grow when it comes to direct response, because all the advertisers putting in ads are getting a return on investment pretty immediately. And this is what, is extremely exciting to me, and also validating on the fact the audience that is on Rumble has tremendous potential and tremendous value. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that the advertisers are, for the most part, direct response.
Thanks. That's helpful color. And now that you guys have, a very healthy balance sheet, can you help us think about kind of where the spending goes? I mean, we've obviously seen the content investments, and we can kind of, try to figure out breaking down the cost of revenue, but particularly around R&D, sales and marketing, just broadly, how do we think about kind of, some of the investments you're going to make over the next, 12 to 18 months? Thank you.
This is Chris again. Thanks, Jason. So when it comes to the investment for 2023, because we, originally thought that we would have to put a lot of the capital to work in terms of growing the company, and we achieved such tremendous growth in Q3, we're now kind of a little more geared towards monetization for 2023 and product. So on the product side, I want to get the product to be really, really good, and we've heard our community very loud and clear on that. So product has become like an enormous part of what we'll be focusing on here this quarter and the next. And then obviously the other component is we believe the product will drive a lot of growth as we improve on the product. And then two, we really want to get our advertising and monetization at a point where we exceed the competition. We feel like that will give us a real competitive edge on the creator world if we can pay them more than the competition does. And I think that we have a real path to do that based on what we're seeing in 2023. So we're really going to put the gas pedal on rack and really try to deliver to the creators a better monetization package than anything else out there.
That was key. That was key that he said product.
Thank you, Jason.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the question and answer session, and I would now like to turn the conference over to Chris Pawlowski, CEO, for closing comments.
Thank you to everyone that has joined us today. I look forward to updating everyone on our fourth quarter full year earnings call next year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. The conference of Rumble has
Okay, I was on mute that whole time, guys. I was on mute that whole. I've had a lot of technical difficulties today with the audio, man. Anyway, what I was saying was I really enjoyed that last comment there. Really important from Chris Pavelski saying that product was where they want to spend the money next year. I know there's a lot of questions about technology, so I'm happy to hear that it's going to spend money on that end. So all in all, I think the worst fears didn't develop. 11 million, a pretty good number. Only losing 1 cent, pretty good number. They have a big, long cash runway. I think the chances that this kind of crashes and burns to like the 5 to 8 level is probably has been decreased with this earnings report. So probably that has been decreased with this earnings report. We know the stock continues to be fundamentally overvalued at a $44 million run rate and a $3 billion valuation, but the growth and the user metrics they have and the strong sentiment from their investor base, I think is something that's going to keep the stock up, even if it does dip. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a dip to like a $10 psychological support level. And if we do get another bear raid, that was precipitated last time by that short report to like $6, $7, $8 range, I think will be bought up quickly by the bull. So all in all, good report. Bad audio from us. Didn't handle the controls here very well. A bunch of areas of time where it was muted. So I'm sorry about that. But in any case, we do this twice a day. We go through our watch list. In fact, let me see if I could remove these here real quick to give one more reminder how we do that. And no, maybe I can't do that. I don't have time. It's 5:44 and I got to go. So with that, guys, listen, hop on over to storytrading.com. You get a 7-day free trial. Every morning at 9 a.m. pre-market prep. Tomorrow the schedule is going to be a little different. 8 a.m. pre-market prep. 8:30 a.m. we listen to Dario conference call together. DRIO. And with that, I am out of here. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you tomorrow in our community.